This video will cover the following topics. We start with resources where you can learn R and RStudio. Then I will give you a very basic introduction into RStudio. I will show you how to prepare RStudio for analysis. And finally, I recommend a workflow to follow when you want to do an effective data analysis. When you type tinyurl.com/R and RStudio in a browser, you will be directed to a website that provides a chapter of the Practical Machine Learning with R book. The book provides a chapter introduction into R that helps you to learn R and RStudio. Among other things, it will provide you with an introduction to the layout of the windows in R and RStudio, and it will also introduce the tidyverse package, a package that makes it way easier to work with R. We will have later a short video about this package. But most importantly, the chapter has the digital resource section. In this digital resource section, you will find links to other sources to learn R, including a Data Camp R course and a video for newbies. Now it's time to work with RStudio. Make sure you open RStudio and not R, and when you open it, it will look something like this. It is very important that you create an R project, which is not much more than just a dedicated directory on your computer where all your files go. How do you do this? You go to File, New Project, click on New Directory because you want to make a new directory for your files. Click on New Project, and now you choose where your directory should go. I want it directly under C, so I go here to C, and I call my directory Intro to R. And I create a project. What happens now is that a dedicated directory under C called Intro to R is created, and a file like a marker is put in this directory to show R, this is the directory I want to work with. Now when you open R again, you can go here to the very right upper corner and you find a list of all your projects. See, here it is, Intro to R. And if you click it, R goes automatically into the correct directory. All files that you read, that you save, are saved or read from this directory. That makes organizing your files so much easier. Now let us take a look at the 4 windows from RStudio. Currently you see only 3 because we have not created an R script file, which is a file where all the commands go. I do this here, File, New File, R script. And it's a good idea to save it right away because you see it's still called untitled. So I say File, Save As. Call it Intro Script and save it. You see, because I'm working with the R project, it is automatically saved in the right folder. Now we can look at the 4 windows. Let's close the R script file for a moment, and we can see here is our file window. If I click on Intro Script R, it is opened. Here is where my variables are stored, and here is the R console. This is where all the commands are executed. I clean it up for you so you can see everything a little bit better. And we start with assigning a value to a variable, or it's called R object. An R object is just like a mathematical variable. It is like a container where you can store content in. And I show you how. My first variable, I call it var1 equals 3. And how do I execute my code? I click anywhere in this line where I want, but I should not highlight anything. So I click anywhere, and then I use Control Enter on a PC or Command Enter on a Mac. What happens is my line gets copied down to the console here, gets executed, and consequently a variable or an R object is generated that contains, like a container, the value of 3. I can repeat that, and I assign a value of 5. Control Enter, and now you see I have another variable that contains the variable of 5. I can use these variables, for example, to print their value, but instead of printing only the value for one variable, I want to print the sum of the two. var1 plus var2. And here I get a suggestion. I should always follow these suggestions because I have a typo. And when I execute this line with Control Enter or Command Enter, it's copied there, and you see the sum is printed out here. Can I work directly in the console? The answer is yes, but it is strongly not recommended to do so. I can create a variable, I call it variable console equals 999. And in the console, I have to type Enter instead of Control Enter. And you will see, here it is. I will show you why this is not a good idea. But before I do that, I want to show you some important settings that will make your life much easier when you work with RStudio. You go to Tools, Global Options, and make sure Restore most recently opened project at startup is checked, and the second option below is checked too. Then look at Workspace and uncheck Restore R data into Workspace. Can put this here to never. And what happens if you do that? What happens? Your variable values that you can see in the right upper window will not be saved. That sounds counterintuitive. Why not saving them? But trust me, it creates a lot of inconvenience and sometimes trouble. And I will demonstrate that to you. So I save this, and you have to do it only once. And now I save my R script, and I close RStudio. And let's say the next day I come back, I reopen RStudio. It goes automatically back to the last project I worked with and opens the last used R script. If it doesn't, it would look like this. And you can always go here to the project list and click, choose your project, and you open the R script file. Well, as you see, no variables are defined. But that is no problem, because you just go to the first line, Control Enter, and you can even execute the print command. That ensures that the variables you have are always consistent with your R script, and that you don't have some left over in there. You can, for example, see that our console variable, because it was not in the R script, it is not saved, and we didn't want that, and that is why you usually do not work in the console window. Now you're ready to learn a little bit more about R. Go to tinyurl.com/R and RStudio, and you find an introduction to R together with other resources. I hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time, goodbye.